localization, localizing your app.
Yeah.
Which is, localization is not just translation. There's translation, right? You want to have your text be readable by whoever is using the app in their native language,
Mhm.
and that's definitely a big part of it. But the other part is there are things that are different than just the translation. One thing is like numbers or
Hmm.
here in the US we use a dollar sign and we say we separate our units of every, thousands, millions, whatever with commas, and we put a
Sure.
period before the cents or whatever, or the fractional portion of a number. In other places they flip that around.
Hmm.
um, anyway, historically what you would say is you go through all these points, you make up your strings catalog, which is just all these strings you're going to use in your app, plus kind of a description of where they're all used, so you have the context, because a word that we might use, one word to mean a couple different situations in
Sure.
another language or another locale, you might uh, not use it. You might use two different words for that in that case. um, and one of the things that helps with localization is the all the accessibility stuff that we were talking about a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
because one of the biggest problems you have is having text fit at different languages. It fit perfectly in your language, but now it's, the thing you had that was short is now long, and the thing you had that was long is kind of short. Now it looks silly, and
Mhm.
um, and so a lot of making sure text fields can wrap lines or go multiple lines and whatever. But anyway, my point that I was getting to is that my walkthrough on that in the past was going to be very much going down this detail, and that still is relevant. But I think the right answer now is actually to use AI. I think the
Oh,
correct answer, the best answer. Apple mentioned in their keynote, hey, you can use our Xcode AI thingy to localize everything in your app. I'm like, really? You can just say localize my app. Well, I tried that in Xcode,
mhm.
in the new Xcode 27 beta, and it was looking like it was going to do things, but honestly, there was too many questions about approve this and approve that and approve this and
Hmm.
approve that. So I went back to Claude Code and not running the new, what is it called? Fable, but
Fable.
it's just the Opus 4.8. And I said, hey, I need you to localize my app. That means, of course, all the translations into, I said, whatever languages the App Store supports. I think there's like 35 or 38 of them or whatever,
Hmm.
into all those locales. But I said, we're not just talking languages here. We're talking about, for example, Spanish Mexico is not the same as Spanish Spain,
Right.
um, and that kind of thing. And I forget, I gave it kind of a little punch list of things that came across my mind, and it went through and did a bunch of stuff, and then I went and checked it and found a couple things that didn't quite meet the bar. But I told it, for each one, you have to go through and you have to, you know, well, first figure out all the strings thing, and then with each of those, translate it for each of the locales, and then kind of reverse translate everything too to make sure it makes sense over each one. And I gave it kind of a long, detailed thing, which I'm pretty sure I could probably post or something or include with this podcast. But basically, that ended up being the right answer. It went along doing its thing for quite a while, and there were a couple areas that it had like some couple questions, like, oh, and this, there was one spot where it was one of those things where we're creating a string on the fly based on some data, and part of it is the data from the string, and then it's like, well, to properly pluralize it, or um,
I have a question about you said the best method here is to use AI to localize your app.
I really believe that's true
Right.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't
Better
used to think
than
that.
a native, like if I want to go to Arabic, finding a native Arabic speaker to
I
localize my
mean,
app to Arabic. You'd say AI is better or
probably
faster?
better.